Hi everyone. So this is quite a delayed video for this fortnight. I think if you watch Rachel's video, you would have heard that I'm delayed this week with getting it done. It's just coming towards the end of term, and we're just so busy at work. By the time I get home, which is often quite late at night, I'm just too exhausted to do anything. And then on Wednesday night, I was babysitting my little nephews, so I didn't get any stitching done. So this weekend, I did have an athletics carnival all day yesterday, our big school athletics carnival versus all the other boys' schools. So once I got home in the evening and on Friday evening, I got a little bit done. So just to show you where I'm at, this isn't stitched down. This is just what I've been playing around with. I have stitched down, this is a very pale blue linen that I got from Lisa Mattock, and I've stitched it down just like little tiny stitches holding it in place. And then this lovely piece of lace I got from Debbie, Doll's House Vintage, and I've stitched that across the top. And what I've decided to do is I decided to attach my little snowman. This is my pocket. So this was a piece of the the shibori dyed fabric that had a hole in it. And I have just flipped over the edge and stuck it down, like stitched it down, not stuck, stitched. And I did back my little snowman with some check and just did a running stitch around it with like a red cotton. But I decided to stitch him down, and I've flipped up his scarf on this side so it looks like it's blowing in the wind like that, and done some stitches to hold it in place, because that way you can see his little buttons and his hands. I made a mushroom that's felted wool, the red, and then just stitched with just a crochet cotton, DMC crochet cotton. And then my little houses, nothing planned out here, that's why you can see it's super crooked. I just freehand stitched some little houses on there. So that's going to be my pocket that runs across the bottom. And inside the pocket, and all that stitching's done with this crochet cotton, just a DMC, it's an old one. What I'm going to put in my pocket is, because the Queen passed away, I thought I might do a little memento to the Queen so that I can remember when she passed away. It was in the time that I was making this block, so I'm going to pop that in my pocket. So the next thing I've been doing is I thought I might do a little cluster up on this corner. So obviously my plan has changed just a little bit from what I was talking about last time. And I've ripped up, most of these fabrics are ones I got from Debbie in a kit. So I really love this Suffolk puff I got from her. It's lovely and faded on the front. It's nice and old. So all these fabrics, these ones here are from Debbie. This one is just one I got from the sewing basket. And I thought I'd just layer some bits down, just using up some scraps and a little piece of scrap lace. And then I think a little bit higher, I was planning that one. And then I'm just going to pop my puff there. And I thought I'd stitch it down to give it some more green. This is, it's kind of like a perle cotton. These were old DMC cottons. It's kind of, don't know if you can see. It's like a perle, but it's narrower than a perle. Quite like that dark tone. I'm going to cantha stitch all these bits down. Then my pocket will go across the bottom. And then I'm going to put just one tree, because I was planning on doing several. I think I'm just going to do one tree. So I've got my token snowman, and I'm going to have my little token woodlands tree kind of thing. All right, so I'm going to start by stitching these down. So I'll take off the fabrics, and I'll just start with this base one. I hope it looks okay in this thread. So I'll do a little bit of stitching, then I'll pause and I'll finish off stitching my little fabrics down, then I'll bring it back on and I will show you how I'm going to stitch my puff down, my Suffolk puff. And then I'm going to make my tree. The leaves are going to be out of felted wool. I haven't cut them out yet, but I'm going to do that. And then the final thing is I'll stitch down my pocket with my snowman. So I'll pause at times when you kind of get the idea. You don't want to keep watching me stitching the whole time. So we've had a super busy week. I'll just tell you a little bit about my week. The week we've just had was our second last week of the term before we go on to school holidays. And it's my last week that I have actually teaching Year 12, which is our senior classes that are in their last year of school. So I actually have a lot of activities coming up with Year 12 this week, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But last week was my last opportunity to have them in class. So I was busy kind of organising stuff for them. We had these seminars rather than normal lessons. I had 2 seminars during the week. They went for about, what are we looking at, 100 minutes. So just over an hour and a half each. And what I did is I actually got 3 guest speakers in to talk to the boys, just to get them to sort of hear some different people's perspectives related to different syllabus content that they've been studying. So my first guest speaker was a girl that works in our school. She's actually in charge of our Indigenous students. We have quite a few Indigenous boys at our school, and she's in charge of them. And she has lived in many Indigenous communities, often very remote communities. For people in Australia, up in Arnhem Land, and also in Central Australia. And it was good to get her in because part of my course is the boys have to learn about health in Australia. And we learn about groups in Australia that experience health inequities, and Indigenous people experience health inequities. They have a life expectancy. It's slowly reducing the gap between non-Indigenous and Indigenous, but they have a life expectancy of about 9 years less than the average Australian. So the boys learn all about that and why those inequities exist and what are the different issues, and they learn about health promotion and how we address those things. So I got the guest speaker in, and she did a wonderful job of talking about her experiences in those communities where she was a teacher in schools, and her experiences with teaching the kids, which was really interesting because it lets the boys understand a lot about different cultures, because they're all different depending on the different communities. And so she's given them some good insight into, I think it was 3 different locations that she lived in and schools she worked in. But also she talked about a lot of really great initiatives that community members are coming up with that basically are addressing either health issues or improving the health status of Indigenous people. So that's great because it gives the boys excellent examples that they will use when they write responses in their exam, because they always have to write examples. And then my second guest speaker was another staff member, another female, who's in charge of our water polo program. And she actually played in the Australian Olympic team at the Sydney 2000 Olympics. And she shot the winning goal to beat the Americans. Sorry to my US viewers. She shot the goal that won the gold medal with 1.7 seconds to go. So she came in, and I got her to talk to the boys about her time in the Olympics. She talked about a range of things, like different types of training. She talked about sports psychology and the different strategies they use, because that's part of their course. And a little bit about nutrition, supplementation. Again, the boys learn about that related to sports performance. And that was interesting as well. So 2 great speakers on Monday, and then on Friday I had another one. And I got one of my colleagues who's also a PDHPE teacher, teaches the same as me, and he has unbelievable knowledge about sports nutrition and the effects on performance. And he came in and he spoke to the boys about that. I always find his talks really interesting because he's so interested in that stuff that he reads really widely all the time. And even when I'm listening to him, I learn so much because I'm not as well sort of researched in that. I mean, obviously I know what I need to teach the boys, but he just takes it to another level because that's an interest for him. Whereas my interest, I mean, I'm interested in that, but I'm more interested in that sort of health side of things, about Indigenous health and things like that. So that's kind of the area that I'm more sort of more of an expert in, and then each teacher sort of has their interests that they really are passionate about. So that's sort of how I ended up with Year 12 on Tuesday. So Tuesday was a massive day. Sounds very funny, but I literally ran a barbecue at school so that I could run a barbecue next week at the Salvation Army. So what I did is we needed to do some fundraising, because on Tuesday I have my Year 12 boys, the boys that are about to leave. I have about 20 of them going to the Salvation Army at a centre that's about 10 minutes away from 10-15 minutes away from our school. It's a place that I've been going to for probably 19 years now. It's a long time. And we go there every Monday afternoon. I take about 11 boys every Monday afternoon. I might have told you this before, and they volunteer, and we volunteer in a kitchen. And on Tuesday, I'm taking my Year 12 boys to the same space, and we are spending a whole day there. I'm taking my son Jamie too, because he's on early holidays because his exams are done, but other boys still have them, but Jamie's done. And we're going to cook a big barbecue for the people that come to the centre. So that will be, many of the people are actually homeless and living on the street. They are all disadvantaged people. Not all of them are living on the street, but they're different levels of homelessness. And they'll advertise the barbecue that we're running at the centre, and it's usually pretty popular. So we will cater for up to about 100 people. So what I needed to do, because I wanted to fully fund that barbecue, I wanted to plan it with the boys, organise the food, and then fully fund the barbecue. I ran a barbecue at school so I could raise money to pay for all that food. So on Tuesday last week, I ran our school barbecue, and I catered for around 600 boys. And we decided, normally when we do a barbecue at school that's a fundraiser, we just do a sausage sizzle, sausage in a roll, a bit of tomato sauce, maybe some caramelised onions on the barbie, that kind of thing. Very Australian. I don't know if other countries do it as well, but it's very typically Australian. But we wanted to do that, plus the Year 12 boys who ran it, they decided that they wanted to do a burger bar. So I had to organise like 600 serves of half were burgers and half were sausages. We have a snow cone machine. We ran the snow cone machine. I had a lovely mum who made me her famous burger sauce, which she's keeping the recipe secret, but she made me a whole lot of burger sauce. And we had salad and cheese and caramelised onions. And so boys could either get a burger or a sausage, and then we had drinks. And we had the snow cone machine running. If you know what that is, it's where basically you've got a machine that shaves down ice. It's kind of like shaves it down into like snow. And then you just add basically cordial on top, and they love it. The boys absolutely love them. So that was a crazy day. I did 22,000 steps just running around doing that barbecue all day. And I had my lovely mum who made me the burger sauce. She came in and helped me, which was absolutely brilliant, because I don't think I could have done it without her. But we raised about $2,000, which is awesome. But I did spend a bit getting the food. But we've raised heaps. So that means that now I can fund my barbecue at the Salvation Army, which is really cool. So that's been fully paid for. And now what I've got to do, I've already got some of the food organised. I've already organised the meat. We've got a great parent that's a butcher, and they have fabulous meat. Like, it's actually a really high quality butcher, and they've given me fabulous meat at a really, really great price. So, you know, what we're doing for our Salvation Army lunch is I make a really simple Cajun chicken, just marinate chicken thighs in Cajun and a bit of olive oil, and then we barbecue them, and they're delicious just with a plain Cajun spice, and that's really popular. And then I have a potato salad, which is one that sort of we do as a family one, which is really yummy, special potato salad. And we'll do a normal salad, and I'll do some roasted carrots with honey and mustard. This might sound really foreign to you, all this food, but the people at the Salvos, the people that have their lunch, they love this lunch because they get good food, but this is even better food. Like, you know, it's just really, it's a nice change for them. And there's a lovely lady, Monica, that runs the kitchen, and we work with her, and she loves it when we come and do a lunch with her. So, and then for dessert, so funny, normally we do a Christmas lunch for them, and we do a Christmas trifle. For those that don't know what trifle is, we normally make it with like some sponge kind of rolls, or sometimes you can put biscuits, these special spongy biscuits. Usually you've got some like tinned peaches, jelly. We do red and green jelly, and then just some vanilla custard and cream, that kind of thing. And the lady Monica loves trifle, and normally it's a Christmas thing, but she wants us to do trifle. So we're giving them trifle for dessert. So it'll be a great lunch. The boys will be spending the day making it. Some will be on the barbecue, some will be in the kitchen. And then the thing I love the most is they serve the lunch, and then they actually go and sit down with the people in the centre, and they chat to them and they have lunch with them. And that's the best part, where they're actually getting to know people. I love this because it demonstrates to boys the types of things that they can do to become volunteers in their life, and, you know, find something that they're passionate about and just give back to a community. So I'm very passionate about community service. I'm actually head of community service at our school, and you know, it's really easy in a school like mine. It's very easy to make a difference. So, you know, I try to teach the boys in my house, and the Salvation Army is our charity. Each house has a charity. I try to teach our boys about the importance of giving back to others. So that's been a busy week. On top of that, normal teaching, and you've had reports this week for Year 12s with them finishing. And then on Monday, tomorrow, today's Sunday, so tomorrow, I'm going to play paintball with Year 12. So I'm going to come back with a few bruises, which it's fun. I find it fun, but you do get a lot of bruises. Anyone who's done paintball will know it stings so much, but it's not such bad pain that you can't deal with it. Well, at least I'm fine with it. So paintball tomorrow, then off to the Salvos tomorrow afternoon with my community service boys, where we're going to be preparing some of that food for the lunch. And then Tuesday, off to the Salvation Army all day with Year 12 for the lunch. And then on Wednesday, we have the boys' final assembly. So finally, we have a chapel service and a final assembly where the parents come in and we celebrate each boy. So super busy end of term with Year 12. It's all about Year 12. And then on Thursday, we have a public holiday in Australia to honour the Queen. And we're on holidays from that day. So finally on holidays, and we can have a little rest, which is lovely. In fact, even though I had an athletics carnival yesterday, today was actually great because it's about the first Sunday in absolutely ages that we haven't had something on. And we went and had yum cha with my brother and my nephews and my other brother-in-law and his son, who's pretty much the same age as Jamie. And then Jamie, my brother, and I took the little nephews, the 3 and 4 year old, to see the Super Pets, the DC Superman dog movie, which was pretty cute. So we've had a good day out, spending time with the nephews. Rach will be seeing them soon because, she'll be coming to Australia for Christmas. So she'll be so excited to see them. They're very cute. Yeah, so busy time, but I'm looking forward to holidays. I've got a few things on in the holidays, but it's pretty chilled, which is good because need a bit of downtime and need to get organised with your work for next term. Still got a bit of marking to do tonight. Got to finish off a Year 7 assessment task. I've done about half of it. I've got a bit more to go tonight. But I wanted to do a bit of stitching today as well. So anyway, that's been my life for the past week and what's coming up. Busy. So on Wednesday, we've got our new prompt. Rachel will be revealing this one again. I'm looking forward to this prompt. This is one that I hope people like. I love what we're going to talk about. I'm just trying to think what the winter one is. I'm talking about the Christmas one I love. I'm trying to think what the winter one is. I can't remember. I have to look at my list. But I'm excited about the Christmas one. I hope you like it. All right, I'm almost stitched down with all of these bits and pieces. I'll just do one more row with the green, and then I'm going to stitch down the lace with just a white thread. I don't want the green all over the lace. And then I'll stitch down the puff. Oh, hang on, I've got this little scrap as well. So look how tiny this scrap is. Like, literally, you can use any tiny little scrap. Don't throw them away. I have a little pile of scraps on the side of my desk, and I just rummage through all my junk on my side and just find bits and pieces to stitch down. I'm actually looking at this. This is a bit of a Acantha quilt. Like, even just adding another little bit, that would look good. Okay, hopefully, yeah, I'm still on camera. And last Sunday, I haven't spoken to you since then. Last Sunday, we had was it Sunday? Saturday. Just trying to think. No, it was Sunday. Last Sunday, we had Saturday we had water polo Sunday. Jamie had a big pipes and drums band competition. And all our bands again won their division, and Jamie's band won all sort of the top divisions for their age group. So they won. I feel like I told you this before, but I don't think I have, because I haven't done a video since then. I don't think. Anyway, they won both the juvenile and the adult section, which is amazing. So he's actually got the nationals in the holidays. So in not next weekend, but the weekend after, he's got the national band competition. When I say band competition, I think Americans, maybe Canadians as well, have more brass bands, and you probably think of that. But if you're in England, Scotland, Wales, etc., you'd be familiar with the types of bands. They're pipes and drums bands, so bagpipes, tenor drums, snare drums, bass drums, that kind of thing. I mean, if you've been watching anything that's been going on with the Queen and the different stuff, and in fact with her funeral, a lot of the songs that they play there are the same ones that Jamie's band plays. And if you are watching any of that, they play the Lament for her, and our boys do that as well on Remembrance Day, which is in memory of our diggers that were killed in the war. And it's all familiar music. It's all the music that Jamie plays. And in fact, our school goes over to the Edinburgh military tattoo fairly regularly, about every 2 to 3 years. COVID's knocked that about for the past sort of 2 or so years, but they are going next year. But unfortunately, Jamie can't go because he's on his important exams at that time. So, as I said in another video, he gets the New York trip instead, which we're very excited about. I'm really excited to go to New York. I've never been there. So any good tips? I mean, I don't think I won't have masses of time to go all over the place, but any tips on things I should see that are an absolute essential? I'm sure we'll be doing some touristy things, but any good tips? Are there any amazing sort of sewing stores or anything that I should go to? Let me know. And if I get some downtime, I'm going to be there. I know I want to see the 9/11 memorial. I've always wanted to see that. I feel like I want to go on the Sex and the City tour. That would be fun. Go to some of the places in the show. Yeah, I don't know. We'll be going to some different things. I really want to take Jamie to the, is it FAO Schwartz toy store? Just so we can see it, because, you know, I've seen it in movies and stuff, so we wouldn't mind seeing that. But anyway, give me some tips. What should I see? It's not until next Easter, so that will be sort of autumn, almost like winter. So won't be freezing, I'm assuming. Be cold, but not freezing. So that'd be good. Times Square, I guess we see that. Empire State Building, maybe, I'm not sure, we might get out to the Statue of Liberty. We're going to a baseball game. No, baseball, no, we're not. We're going to a basketball game and an ice hockey game. Not baseball. Yeah, so it should be good. Okay, so all my little Cantha stitching's done. So I'll just thread up a needle. I'm just going to use just this. I was thinking of just stitching this on there, about maybe there. Don't want to cover up all of that pretty fabric. And then I'm going to put my puff I didn't bring it all the way. Yep, that's better. I'm going to bring it all the way over. I'm going to put my puff just there. Okay, so and again, this was just a little scrap of lace on the side of my table that I've pulled out. Sorry if you can hear the clickety click click click. My son's playing Xbox behind me. He's smiling because I'm telling you. What are you playing? What's that game? GTA, where you basically smash your car into people, shoot them and stuff. Grand Theft Auto. Terrible game. He's laughing at me. He doesn't Xbox that often. Usually just occasionally on the weekend. Sometimes he's even too busy, he doesn't even do it. Okay, just little stitches. I'm just running along the bottom first. Whoops, hooked. And then I'll do just some random little stitches just to hold it in place. Okay, I'm going to pause for a sec while I stitch this down, just because you don't want the video to be way too long. And then I'll come back when I'm up to stitching my puff down. Okay, I'm back. So I've just put my puff down. I've actually already started stitching. So just quickly to show you how I do it, just come up through the edge of the puff there, just right on the edge. And then I just go down through the fabric and then up a little bit further along. Okay, can you see I've just captured the edge? Pull it through, so just an overcast stitch the whole way through. I'm just using the plain cotton. You could use a perle thread or a coloured cotton if you want your stitches to stand out. I'm just going plain on this one. Okay, so I'm coming all the way around the whole puff until I'm done. This is quite a large puff, this one. It's a lovely, lovely old one. I love all the old sort of fabrics you get on the puffs. You know, just see if I've got another one here. I've got a little stack here. Like, you get these lovely puffs that have been all stitched together in quilts, and then look at these old, sort of, what are they, like almost like feed sack fabrics, 1930s, 40s, 50s, that kind of thing. Yeah, and often your back is fairly bright, so that back is actually a lot brighter than the front. The front's faded. If you want to reduce the bulk with your puff, because obviously it's 2 layers of fabric, this is pretty soft, light fabric. Sometimes they're more chunky. You can actually cut around it and take the back off, and then you can use that back piece for something. Because to be honest, it doesn't matter that you can't see it in there. So I could have actually snipped it. You would get a bit of a frayed edge, but you know, we are doing slow stitching and there is a lot of frayed edges and stuff. I mean, obviously I rip all my fabrics. I actually prefer the look of the frayed edge rather than a neat edge. If I want a neat edge, then I would needle turn applique something, so to actually turn the edge under. And I mean, potentially you could do that. It would be a bit fiddly doing it on a round circle like this, but you could actually needle turn it if you wanted to cut the bulk away and use the back for something else. But I've just stitched down the whole puff as is. All right, I'm going to pause again. I've just got to go around to there, and then I'm going to come back and show you how I'm doing my tree. See you in a sec. Okay, all stitched down, so just showing you what it's going to look like with my pocket on top. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I made my tree. So firstly, I've got some like cheesecloth that I've tea dyed, and then I've dried it in the oven, and you get like these kind of like just a slow oven, so quite a low temp, but for a while. This was Katerina Giglio's method, where you wrap it up in bundles and then you tie it up with string. So I've got some string that I tied it up with that has been tea dyed as well. And what I've done is I'll show you over here. I've cut strips of the cheesecloth and also some of the string, and then I'm just twisting it. Okay, so I've made a bunch of twists. Some are thicker than others depending on how I've cut the cheesecloth. And then I've got this little scrap here. Sorry, my string's come out, so I put the string at the bottom, just there, and then I just twisted it. If it comes out, it's okay, because I'm going to do couching to put this on. So I've got 4 little bits. If I need more, I can make more. And what I'm thinking is I'm just going to layer this up a little bit and twist it. It's like the tree trunk here. And then it's going to be a tree that's coming out. So just want my branches to go all over the place, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add leaves. So when I put my pocket down, you're going to have like a wintry tree. Okay, so what we might do, this will all get stitched down nicely in place when you cantha stitch it, or when I cantha stitch it, not you, me. Just going to pin over some of it, quite like where it's gone. It's like a wispy wintry tree. Oops. Just to hold it in place. And even though it's coming unraveled, I'll just twist it again before I cantha it. So we'll give this a little twist. This is the trunk. The base of the trunk will be covered. It's going to be covered up to there. And I'm just going to cantha it. I've got 3 strands of a chocolate brown DMC thread. Actually just going to start up the top here just to hold this all down. So to cantha it, couch it, I'm just coming up through the fabric, and then I come down on the other side. Okay. Little twist, keep it in place. You can do your stitches as close or as wide apart as you want to. Okay, can you see? I could actually snip off a bit of the bottom because it's going to be down in the pocket. I'll go a little bit further and I'll just see how I go. So I'm actually doing quite wide stitches. It's very quick to do couching. Okay, that's enough down the bottom. If I wanted my thread to blend in, I could use like a tanny beigey coloured thread to match if I wanted to, but I'm happy for this one to stand out. Okay, that's coming undone a bit, but that's okay, I can fix it up later. So there's a bit of noise outside. I live in an apartment building and the clothesline is right outside my gate. And it sounds like someone's chucking their pegs in a bucket, getting their clothes off the line. We've had a lovely spring day today. It's actually quite warm. Got to watch the little nephews do their little soccer thing this morning. And then obviously had the day doing a few things with them because my brother was looking after them on his own. His wife's doing a Pilates course today, all day. So I did stuff with him. See how you can kind of just pull it in with your needle? It's pretty quick, isn't it? And I like little straggly bits coming out, like it's bark peeling off the tree. And you can move it around and shape it the way you want it. Just pulling it in with my needle. Okay, you get the idea. I'm going to finish stitching this and I'll be back in a sec. All right, so my tree, I'll just move all these. My tree's all stitched down. Sorry, just brushing off the fluff. Okay, so I've got my tree shape. And then I have cut out a bunch of leaves. So all I did was cut some felted wool, various shades of green, into little rectangles, just rough cut. There's nothing measured about this. And then I'll just show you how I do it. So my little scrap basket. I actually like to use big scissors. Some people might like to use small ones. So I just cut a little leaf shape. And just trim it down. Okay. Just want to slightly shape it a bit better. Okay, not making my leaves too big. All right, so what I'm going to do, this is going to be super simple. And I want to mix up my leaves so there's different colours. Ugh, they're stuck together, hang on. I'm just going to place them down. And I'm just using that same green thread. I'm not going to swap it. I'm going to use the same colour for each leaf. And I'm just going to do a running stitch along the middle. And that's as simple as I am going to get with my leaves. Just a little running stitch with small stitches. Okay, from point to point. Okay, so that can actually flick up at the sides, and I'm going to mix the leaves up. So you might be able to see the thread a little bit better on this colour. I'll do a lighter colour in a second, you'll see. Just little stitches through the middle. Super simple. And just making sure I get it right to the edge. Okay, I'll get a light one. Now, a few of these felted wools I got from Debbie, I mentioned before, Doll's House Vintage, Lulworth Blue on Etsy, and they're super fluffy, her ones, they're really soft. And then a couple of them I got from Mum, I showed you them. Was it last week or the week before? I can't remember. Last week I think it was, or 2 weeks ago, my last video I mean. And then some I already had. I used to have a great person I ordered these from, and she shut down her business, which was a real pity because they are hard to find, these types of wools, hand-dyed ones. Sue Spargo's got heaps, I think I've said that before. I probably should look at maybe ordering some from Sue. I particularly love these kind of ones that have the patterns. I've got lots of the colours too. The plain colours are great for projects too, but I love the pattern ones. Even I guess you could use bits of old blanket. Probably people even use old jumpers that they've felted. They can get thick, like this one here is actually really thin. And then like this one here, this fluffy one here is quite thick. So they do vary, but they're wonderful to work with. All right, I'm going to stitch down lots of leaves and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so here's my tree. I've done all my little leaves. And now I'm going to attach my pocket. So all I'm going to do to attach my pocket is do a blanket stitch around the edge. Just actually trim that a little bit. Okay, so I've just got to decide which colour thread I'm going to use. Tossing up between green. Could do green. Could do, that one's a bit bright, that red. Do I have a, just see what I've got on hand here. A more, this one maybe, bit of a darker red. Or I could do, okay, I think that'll blend too much. Green or red. hard to decide. I think either would go well. I think I'm going to do the green. Okay, so this is just an old perle cotton. I've used this one before. And I'll just show you the start of doing my blanket stitch. All right, I'm finally ready to blanket stitch my pocket in place. And what I'm going to do is just come up through the back. Now to start my blanket stitch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an overcast stitch to hold it in place, and then I'm just going to come under that stitch so that I can start my blanket stitch. So blanket stitch, you can go through the front or back, but I'm coming through the back, and then this is going to loop around. Whoops, what did I do? Not like that. The other way, I twisted it. Sorry, I'll show you again. So I'm just going to move his scarf because I don't want to stitch his scarf down. Okay, sorry, let me show you again. So I'm going to come through the back to the front, and that. Am I doing it again? I think I should have gone the other way. Front to the back. Have I twisted it again? Let's see. Yes. Okay, I just need to go under. Okay, let's try for a third time. See if I can work this out. I'm gonna go front to back. It's easier. Front to back, and then you just loop that there. Okay, now it's going to work. So front, through to back, and you just hook that around. Sorry, I was not thinking before about how I was doing my blanket stitch. I was doing it the wrong way. Okay, front, through to back, and loop it around. Front to back, loop it around. Okay, now I'll just show you. See the stitches along the edge, and you actually have a thread running along there. Front to back. The green blends in quite nicely. The red would have stood out more, and the white probably would have stood out even more. I'm happy with the green. I didn't want it to be too much of a feature. If I wanted it to blend in, I could have actually done it with a blue thread to blend it in with the fabric a bit better. All right, got the hang of it now. It's looking like it's supposed to. I'm going to pop my video off, blanket stitch around the edge, and I will come back. All right, so my my pocket is all stitched down. And the last thing I just want to do is, I was thinking I'll put some buttons down the side here, so I'm alternating green and white, and I'm going to stitch it down with blue thread. And then I'm going to do one more thing. So I'll just do the buttons quickly. Just to give it a bit more interest down the side. I thought buttons would look good. Now I usually do 2 stitches just to make the thread a bit more chunky and so it stands out a bit more. So with the 4 holes, you don't have to always do a cross. I did a cross there. With this one I'll show you a different way. I'm sure you know this, pretty straightforward. So just top to bottom. Okay, and I'm sewing with a perle thread again. It's just a navy blue one. You can see I like this colour, it's almost run out. Okay, so you get a different look. Then I need a green. All right, I'll pause for a sec while I finish the last few buttons. Okay, so all done, buttons stitched down the side, and then my last thing I wanted to do was just snowflakes everywhere. So it's a wintry theme with an evergreen tree. That's why it's not too wintry, it's an evergreen tree with snow coming down onto my little winter village. So I hope you enjoyed seeing my page. I'm actually really happy with this one, and not this tag, but what I'm thinking of doing is making a little thing about the queen that will run horizontally and it will pop into the pocket there, so it will just stick out. But I'll get onto that one later. I'm not going to do one that way because it would cover too much of the things at the top. So we will see you again on Wednesday. Just thinking, yep, I should be okay for my video on Wednesday. So I'll try to be on time this week. Things settle down from Wednesday, so that's good. Okay, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye.